There are billions of women passing through similar experiences all around the world, and for whatever reason, we often feel like we're alone. It's time to make a point of discussing these topics from a range of viewpoints. These conversations surpass age, race, location. They are relevant to women everywhere. Welcome to the She Word. Conversations that women rarely have, but really should.
What if you could start your journey over? Start here and start again there. That's how life works, in a circular way. We understand the importance of circles, and that's why you are at the heart of ours. Find your way to wellness with Browns.
Here we go. Welcome to the She Word, conversations that women rarely have, but really should. And this episode is about women with a voice. And I'm really, really excited, as always, but very much more so because I have three very powerful women with me around this table. Moira, this is your second outing to the She Word, TV presenter and producer, animal rights, welfare and campaigner. And you're back on the She Word, as I said, for the second time.
Yes, and that's really nice to introduce me as one of the strongest. So
Absolutely.
It's an honor. It's an honor,
Absolutely.
honestly.
Also, Sasha Vella, you are a journalist. You're with Lovin Malta. You were actually in this season of the She Word, talking about your 33-centimeter ovarian cyst. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's a brilliant, brilliant show. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me once again.
Thank
I'm
you.
absolutely honored and really grateful that you continue giving women a platform. It's really well needed. Thank you.
I might blush and cry. And Martina Zammit, Tina Z.
Yes.
So I know you, of course, because you are a breakfast show DJ on VibeFM with your two partners in crime, but you're also a TV presenter, you're also a TV producer, and you've been in the industry for quite a long time as well. So I'm really excited because as I sat down to script this show, I kind of sat down and I said, I'm going to call this Women in Media. And then I thought to myself, hang on a second, there's one thing that you ladies all have in common, and that is that you speak out. You have a voice. And I felt that it was really appropriate to discuss having a voice, using your voice, and we're going to delve into that. But I also, as I sat down to script this show and to think about this show, I thought to myself, my goodness, we've got radio, we've got TV, presenting and producing, TV presenting and producing as well. We've got news, we've got social media, we've got podcasting. We cover between us around this table kind of every single different kind of media that we would engage with. So I'm going to just ask each of you to fill in the gaps a little bit more, starting with you because you're first timer here.
Yes, very excited to be here.
I'm so excited because we've had this conversation for quite a while about you coming on the show. And of course, you had to go and get married and you had to work around that and that sort of thing. But just to fill in the gaps, a little bit of background info on you, what you do, and what you believe in as well.
Okay, well, you gave a very good detailed introduction how, I'm involved in the media I started with TV. So I was always very intrigued with TV, got into TV, and then after a few years producing, so it was on behind the scenes, and very rarely was I in front of the scenes, in front of the camera. And then there was this opportunity that came about, the radio show, which was 8 years ago now. It's been 8 years.
Wow.
Yes.
You've been sitting with those two guys for breakfast for 8 years.
8 years, yes. And still very excited to wake up in the morning and enjoy the 3 hours of radio with them and the followers, the listeners. So no, radio is great. So radio, as you know, is a personality. So your life, literally, we go on air, literally speaking about our lives. So all the funny stories that happen to us. So it's personality radio. And there was, I became vocal, I would say, about who I am and what I believe in after a few years, because at the very beginning I was very I wasn't sure if I should be saying that I'm in a relationship with a woman. I started dating Emma. I doubted a lot of times if I should say it or I should keep it a little of a secret. But then I said, sort of, why should I be ashamed of I mean, we do love each other so much. We're so happy to be together. And I thought it was the best thing. I wanted to be honest. I just went on air and said, you know what, I'm in a relationship with a woman. And the feedback was absolutely great. There was no issue at all. I mean, I did get comments here and there that made me doubt myself, but I don't regret anything about it.
So we're going to come to that topic of
Okay.
when to say, what to say, and the effect, positive and negative, of speaking out about something you believe. And we're going to come to that in a second. And real respect for doing that. And of course, a huge, massive congratulations on your recent marriage as well.
Thank you.
Coming back to you in just a moment. Moira, let's put you in context as well, because you're a TV presenter and you're one of the older people at the table.
Yes, exactly. Much older than Sasha and Tina. Yes. And
just a number.
Teen, first of all, with what you did, you know, you helped a lot of people, and I admire you.
Sweet.
I admire you for doing this, because it was
I'm going to
needed.
get emotional.
No, well needed.
It was difficult, but we'll get to that later.
Well, the same. So may I remind you, I'm 51. So 25 years ago, or even more, when I first got separated, I had the same issue as yourself, but with getting separated, it was a shock to our society group of friends getting separated back then. And
but because you were on television even back at 25 years ago, or I mean, put the context of your background, and we'll come to that issue, because that issue of separation, I really want to touch on it.
Getting separated, I can't do the maths right now. Okay, I'm bad at maths, so forgive me. So around 23 years ago, being the first couple that got separated, back then it was a
taboo kind of.
Yes, so that was the first move. Then so the only thing I could make money was going on TV, producing my own show, and being able to spend as much time with my son, because you have to think about that. So I chose a production show on TV. So producing helped me being behind the camera, being with my son, and being a mother and working. In those days, it wasn't easy at all, but I chose TV. Then as soon as I started getting familiar with people and people started to recognize me, being an animal lover, I used that in my favor to be the voice for animals. So in my head, in my mind was like, okay, the more popular I'm going to become, the better I can use my voice for animals. In those days, I mean, it was cats and dogs. It wasn't that bad, but it was bad. Dogs in the streets, cats not neutered, Now, with the help of all the activists and all the volunteers, it's much better. But I remember the show on TVM, Sharabank. I used to go to the same show, being invited, not inviting myself, on different issues.
Just turning up.
But people in those days used to tell me, again, it's about animals. All you talk about is animals. They didn't even see the idea of having an animal activist, the voice for animals in those days. They thought I was repeating too much of the same thing.
Now I'm just going to interject there, because I've actually interviewed you, and interviewed your backstory, which in a separate interview, which is fascinating. And do hunt that down. I'll put the link there so you can go and find this backstory of how you got into television in the first place. But you found a voice, kind of almost the opposite way around for you. You've come into TV, and then your lifestyle is part of your message. And with you chose. You said, I am going to use my platform to speak out about my passions. Sasha, a little bit of introduction from you before we delve into these topics, because you're a journalist, but you're also very present on socials as well, and you're very passionate about one particular topic.
Yeah. So I would say the platform didn't find me initially, but I created the platform because I started out as an activist. I gained recognition to then actually become a journalist through activism in Malta, environmental activism. In 2019, I had done a protest. It was a very impromptu protest, organized within a week, and we had managed to gather over 1,000 person. And basically, these people tied themselves to trees to protest against the Central Link project, which, even though we didn't manage to save all the trees, we managed to save a few, at least. In that summer, then, I had started to write a bit of opinion pieces, guest posts. I had written for Lovin Malta, I had written for Times of Malta, I had written for The Shift. And I always loved writing. Like, as a child, and even as a teen, I always loved writing. English was always one of my top subjects. And it came very naturally to me. So at that point, I was kind of combining activism with writing. And then once I finished my degree and I decided that I didn't want to pursue a career in graphic design because I felt like it was a bit too much in a box for me, journalism kind of fell into my lap because I was actually looking for a job related to social media or marketing. And I had come across some listings for a journalist position. I remember I had done my first interview. It wasn't with Lovin. It was with another company. And then I had seen the listing for Lovin Malta. And I was like, this is where I fit in, you know, because I'm very outspoken. And for some people, that can be a bit controversial. Like, I'm pro-abortion, I'm pro-cannabis, you know, and I needed a platform that wasn't going to stand in the way of what I want to write about, you know. And that's basically where then activism kind of transformed into journalism. And even though now I can't really consider myself an activist, I work hand in hand. And there are certain topics, mostly in environmental, and also when it comes to animal rights, like I help a lot of cat fosterers, basically giving a voice to those that do not have one, and the non-human, really, because when it comes to the environment and when it comes to animals, these are non-human. So,
whilst you were speaking, I'm seeing out the corner of my eye, I'm seeing both
nodding
and Moira over there
Sasha,
nodding.
I love you. I adore you,
amazing.
Sasha.
Yes, it's true.
We want more women like you.
done,
You're
well done.
amazing.
Well, hang on a second.
Thank
On
you.
a second. Let me stop you there. You know, Moira, you must know the impact that you've had. And Tina, you've just been told, and I'm sure you know the impact that you've had for speaking out. So why, when Sasha was speaking there, why are you nodding your head? What is it about what Sasha just said that you're like, damn, that woman?
Yes,
Because
she's young.
Younger, because she's younger. So
There you
basically,
go.
I think it happened to me a bit much later. I doubted a lot when I was scared. I had
Super scared.
I would say
yes.
I was from fearful to fearless. So that's my story. I was very afraid to speak out, and today, thankfully, I'm not. Today, I'm a completely different person.
Well, let's go completely off script for a second. I'm going to just throw the questions away because I want to ask you, why were you fearful? Why? Was it your gender? Was it this? Was it the country? Was it the topic?
I don't think I can answer why. I just knew as a person, and I've had friends, and Emma as well, my wife, tells me, it's like, you always want to be liked by people, you always want to get that, like, you know, everyone wants to like you, and the nice thing. So I do it. I not admit it, but I like being. So people judging me was always maybe something that worried me. What would people say? Would they think different of me? Would they not like me? So those are probably things that kept me away from maybe, that made me very, very scared. But I don't know why. I don't know if it was the age. I don't know if it's because we're living in Malta, because you mentioned it's a small country. I don't know, small island and
culturally
close.
speaking as well.
Uh-huh. My partner keeps on telling me this. If they aren't people that do not mean to you, like if your close circle, your circle of friends and family understand you, so whatever you say, it's your opinion and they accept it. So this is something that Nikki keeps on reminding me. Are they important to you? Are these people, because they still tell me off. I mean, on every issue that I try to open up, they
Yes.
if it's a hunter, you're going to find a nasty comment. Not all the hunters, but if it's a hunter and he disagrees with what you say, especially with me, speaking out so open and being part of the referendum against spring hunting, they keep on remembering that. So they attack. Fortunately enough, I was born fearless. I don't know where my personality came from. I don't know. I think it was my father expecting a boy. And he bought everything in blue before I was born. So he probably treated me like a boy. And I even in my school days, I was the one to go to the headmistress and ask her for a party, Christmas party, Okay, Moira would ask the headmaster or headmistress, Moira, can you do this? And I used to do it without any fear. But then the fear came along when the nasty comments and the threats came along. That is scary.
Now, this is a massive show, huh?
There's a lot. There's a lot.
You, in your passion and what is important to you, and I'm guessing for you in some degree, but probably at the table more than anybody else, you're going up against, or you have gone up against, directly against hunters.
Yes.
Now, I would say that is potentially putting yourself more at risk than necessarily Tina saying, listen, I'm married to a woman, I'm in love with a woman, this is my orientation and that's who I am.
Unless you find a homophobic hunter.
Yeah.
Well then, who doesn't like the environment? We're all screwed.
They're dangerous.
We'd all be absolutely up for it then. But having said that, you have, and we'll come to this sort of negativity as well, and I'm going to come back to you, but to the extent, what extent did you experience hostility? Because I know it was quite difficult at times.
Where do I start from? I mean, first of all, I was maybe one of the few females ready to be the front face together with Mark and Xavier.
Why it's okay, sorry, again, I'm going to say, why is that important? Why is it important that you're a woman?
Well, they needed a woman on board, and because I'm an animal activist, if I said no, I would have,
But why are you referencing that it's a woman? Should we not all have a voice? What do you think that you received in a different way than your male counterparts?
The threats, yes. Being a woman, I got all the threats.
So the other two didn't get?
No way!
No.
Yep.
Why do you think?
Yes.
I'm curious because
I sometimes I ask. I had to ask for police protection at one time, and it wasn't a joke. I couldn't. There were some towns and villages I couldn't go to because they sent a message for me not to go there. Tersax lawn in Maltese, like, don't even think of coming to our village that way. And the constant comments, yes. And
terrible.
I couldn't not do this. And some people tell me, you shouldn't have done that referendum. You shouldn't have gone. The more days, the more time passes. I'm so proud I did it. I'm so... I'd do it again. I'd do it again. No one will ever stop me being their voice, the animal's voice, including the birds, horses, whoever, whatever animal, even farm animals. If I need to speak up and defend and be their voice, yes, I will be there. And no male will stop me.
you said that
Well
you...
done to you, Moy. Because you're saying well done to
absolutely.
Sasha, and you did amazing.
Without a shadow
I
of
mean,
doubt.
if I might say, so I'm 23. When I was growing up, you were already on TV. And your name is like a core childhood memory, ġifiri,
Sweet.
of like the leading activist
Ah, thank you.
for animals in Malta.
Okay.
Great.
That's how you are.
I get emotional.
Imprinted in my mind,
Good.
seriously.
Sweet, thank you. And
Seriously.
coming from
Because
you,
I
thank
would
you.
always see it. I would always see you on TV, always fighting for animals. And okay, so maybe my young age inspires you, but the fact that there are older people that are keeping up this fight with such strength and courage, that to me is inspiring.
True.
Because I'm new to this game. I'm new to it, but you have been doing this for years.
Thank you.
Like you have been doing this for the like duration of my
Okay.
life.
Well done.
Can I have a minute, please? Thank you.
That was our minute. And I think all of us at the table would agree, because I myself, I'm not Maltese, but I've always had paramount respect, actually, for each of you.
And you.
Like we have for you.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
oh, there's so much love in the
exactly.
room.
There's so much.
Judy.
But isn't that what we're having this show about? Because I think it needs to be acknowledged to have come out and done what you've done and said, this is my life, and I'm
Yes.
sticking to it, and find the courage to do it, to stand up against people who meant you harm, and to embrace making possibly unpopular decisions at such a young age is what we need to say that we do to
Yes.
empower other people and other women
Yes.
to do the same. And that's why
Yes.
we're doing this show. So she's still crying. Whilst Moira is still crying, I'm going to
We're
come...
stronger together. That's the thing. And that's what
Yes.
bugged me a bit about activism in Malta, because I feel that there's a lot of division. And I feel that there are a lot of activists. I mean, the fact that sometimes one event would be endorsed by 30 NGOs. Come on. 15 of those NGOs could be one. We have to recognize the power in numbers, the power of us standing together.
Yes.
As women,
Yes.
and also for the cause that we're fighting for the better of our country, really.
Yes.
I'm going to change the subject a little bit, because I'm going to bring what you guys have just said right back to you, Tina, because you mentioned before that you were nervous and fearful. And when I said, is it Malta? Is it your gender? Now, you've spoken out about having a wife, being in love with
Yes.
another woman.
Being gay.
Did it become more acceptable because Malta moved? Because, or are you? Do you still experience the
I
same?
don't think so. I think it's more. I think our fight is more within ourselves. So it's not the threats in your cases. It's more me coming to terms with and just thinking I'm different when I'm not. Because at the end of the day, I'm still loving someone. I'm still falling in. I fell in love with a person, but you think, I'm different. People are not going to accept me. So the fear was mainly with myself, and I know a lot of people out there are probably going through the same thing. So I didn't do it consciously. I didn't do it. I'm going to do this because I want to help people out there. It wasn't that. In my case, I just when I realized, when I knew that I'm happy, Emma's happy, this is who I am. I wanted to show the world that it's okay to love someone of this. It's natural.
It's
Exactly. It's
natural.
natural. And it's normal. So when you
Yes.
show that it's something normal,
And
hopefully
you're
someone
free.
out
You're
there
free to love whoever
that world
you
is
want.
perfect. Free. I felt free.
Ah,
It was
beautiful.
And
it was
through your
amazing.
acceptance, you lead others to also
Exactly.
arrive to acceptance.
Even if it's just one person out there that I can help, I think that would be amazing.
And I think that's also, you hit the nail on the head right there. Because I think sometimes we think that we need to empower and affect everybody. But the ripple effect of anything that you do, and even this show and the women that have been on this show, the ripple effect is that if you affect one person, that one person might affect two people.
Yeah.
And the ripple effect is enormous. So even as you just said,
Just
if you
one.
make a difference to one person,
person.
one person is enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
But even going back to what you were saying there, I mean, for me, it's kind of, I'm thinking to myself, wow, why would it be such a big deal to say that you're in love with another woman? Now, of course, you did it in the public eye. So that has its own connotations. And your recent marriage, which was beautiful and
Oh, sweet,
fantastic.
thank you.
And you looked so in love, was also very, very much in the public eye.
Yes.
Were you nervous about that? Were you nervous knowing that people would be seeing?
No, because now I know that sort of before I did as I was saying, but knowing I want to show how normal it is, that it's as we're saying, that it's natural, that I wanted it to be out there, because I think the more we see of same-sex marriages, the more normal we are making it. So I wanted to emphasize, like, especially with girls or gay men, I feel have more of a step forward in Malta, at least. I don't know why, but gay women, we're still very backwards. I want to see more gay women in the media, not in the media, pushing for, listen, it's okay, it's normal, it's natural, as we're
It's love.
It's love.
It's love.
That's it. Love.
I'm going to ask each of you, before we move on to the positive impact, and I'm coming to you in a second, Sasha, because there's so much to discuss in this show. But before we get to that, before we get to the positive, because I want to talk about the positive influence that you've had and the positive change that you've made happen. I'm going to ask each of you, did you ever have any negative feedback? Did you ever have judgment? Did you ever feel judgment? And in your situation, it's slightly different because it's you. I mean, these ladies are fighting for things that they believe in, but this is actually kind of a bit more personal because it's you.
Well, there were. So I did, in fact, post the comments that they put on Lovin Malta. I was like, and I laughed, because now I laugh at these comments. So it's what a waste, and you need therapy. So there are these comments. I laugh because at the end of the day, it's literally, I think they're mocking themselves just by writing these crazy comments. I mean,
you're saying this is still in the last.
Yes, on the wedding
Last
video
week.
on Lovin. So I was like, let me
yes.
copy, paste them and show, because I think it's absolutely crazy and ridiculous.
We have some incredibly homophobic and transphobic comments.
Yes.
We can't really control them, but it's incredible sometimes when I go through them. So yeah, it's still a very...
You found that you were able to brush it off
before it would affect me. So let me just make it clear. Realizing the love, because then, I mean, this is just maybe 5-10%, so that's the negative comment, but then there's like 90% of you being accepted. Why not? Of course, the love, it's amazing. Yes. So when you see those few comments, that just I don't want them to bother me, as you said, just brush them off and laugh at them, because I mean, you laugh at them, not that I don't want them to be laughing at me
or don't treat them
mocking me. Or don't treat them. I know that's another thing. Shall I give them importance? Yes or no?
I don't.
I know, but at the end of the day, I want to be laughing at them. I don't. They think they're mocking me. I want to mock them now back. Yes, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
But Sasha, listen, you've spoken out. You've spoken out about the environment. You are in the public eye, not just with Lovin Malta, not just being a journalist, but also because you have a lot of followers as well. Have you ever experienced negativity? People coming back to you and saying, mind your own business, you're a woman, you're young, you're whatever it is, just get out of my face.
I've experienced, for example, so journalistically speaking, I've experienced libel threats, for example.
For what?
At least 3.
For what?
All of them were related. So basically, when someone has an intent to develop either a piece of land or make alterations to a property, all the documents and the permit, until it's approved, they're all publicly available. So many people don't know this, but they're all publicly available. Yeah. You log in with your ID and you access them.
Yeah.
And whenever either someone flags it to me or I encounter it myself, that there would be a bit of a questionable development that could either impact the area where it's going to be built or the surrounding buildings, or if it's in a UCA or anything, if it's next to an ODZ or it's in an ODZ, I tend to write about them. And there have been cases where I write about them. It's all publicly available information. And then I would get a call from the applicant, who would normally be the owner of the site. And I have gotten libel threats before. No, none of them went to court because after some time in journalism, you kind of learn how to protect yourself and how to word everything in a way that you are always going to be protected. So the libel threats were just that, like threats. They never actually progressed to become worse.
Okay.
They actually taken to court. But that I've experienced when it comes to comments, as in, like, I remember during my first week at Lovin Malta, before I grew the tough skin that you need to grow when you're in the public eye. Because now, almost 2 years on, since I became a journalist, I have a much thicker skin, and it's needed because in the beginning the comments do affect you.
But
they
what
do.
comments?
Nasty comments.
They fall, like, for example, on my appearance. People like to pick on my hair a lot. They tell me like, you because you're wearing a wig and stuff like that. Really stupid stuff. But I remember in my first week at Lovin, bit of a ballsy move, but whatever, I don't regret it. I wrote an experience piece about what we discussed during the last episode, about my 33 centimeter ovarian cyst. And I remember there were literal men arguing with me in the comment section of these articles, trying to tell me that I was wrong, or that, like, it should have been, for example, it was my fault because I didn't notice about it. Stupid shit like this, basically. And since it was a personal matter, which obviously you understand this, when it's a personal matter, when it's your life, when it's a situation that you either was in or are in, it's going to hit you a bit differently than when it's just getting hate or getting libel threats related to your journalistic work. Comes, for example, the environment. It hits different when it actually impacts you. But yeah, now I don't really, they don't really affect me, as in at all. Sometimes there have been cases where I would have written an article, for example, and people would start writing to me personally on Instagram, attacking me in my DMs, emails. Yeah, like I remember once when I had investigated a case about this practically illegal camper van which was making money off of a Natura 2000 site without any permits, renting out this camper van for €100 a night. I had written about it. I remember all of the people, probably the friends of the owner, were literally personally messaging me, telling me like, you should take this down now or else we're going to report you and stuff like that.
And how did you deal with that?
I ignored them.
Good.
Is that what you do,
Very
Moira?
good.
Is that what you do?
Sasha, if you ever think of going out for politics, being a politician, I'd work for you for free.
That's great.
I'd
Amazing.
work for Sasha for free. I swear, we want politicians, ballsy politicians as Sasha.
I've thought about it, but I don't think in Malta's current political sphere,
Eventually.
there isn't the support.
You're young and think about it in the future, hopefully.
I think you just you hit the nail on the head though, because you just said that's not the current political sphere in Malta. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Coming to you, Moira, I'd vote for all of you, quite frankly. We need a woman in leadership right now.
Yes.
But coming to you, Moira, because you have it personally experienced, we just touched on it before, you've experienced aggression and a personal attack, negative attacks like Sasha has, and threatening, and personally threatening you. So is it just a case of growing a thick skin? How did you deal with that?
Well, I had to. I mean, what bothers me when they attack my family members, because I can't protect them.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I do not read the comments. However, lately, we just discussed during Animal Diaries, we discussed the law that states that your cats can jump in other people's gardens and, it's not illegal for cats to go in other people's gardens. And the amount of comments, ignorant comments, I'm so sorry to say, and like, if my neighbor's cat had to come to my garden, poor cat, like the threats. And I'm so sorry to say, we're saying that we are growing into being an animal-loving country when we read these constant threats. It's the law, and they attacked the Animal Welfare Commissioner as well. She was just reading the law, and the comments, continuous comments, obviously then the positive comments, the people who agree with this law refrain from commenting, obviously, after reading so many negative comments. And I don't blame them in a way. Yeah. On the other hand, with me going back to how long ago? 25 years ago, 23 years ago, that I became like the voice of animals, which is the best compliment that I could ever get. Nowadays, there are so many other activists, volunteers, hands-on people that do great work. So it worked. We are such a large team helping all the stray animals out there. And quite honestly, all the NGOs coming together and all the volunteers we do an excellent job. I mean, you don't find an injured cat or dog out there who is not being helped. And that I'm proud of, thanks to all the volunteers.
I was going to ask you, each of you, what is the most positive experience? What's the most positive aspect of what you've done, of standing up? Because we could talk about we could talk about the negative until the cows come home.
Let's talk about the positive.
We know that when women stand up and women speak out, women present themselves as a target. Just a few weeks ago, we had a show with Cami Applegren, who is a campaigner for the environment. She stands up, she speaks out, and she talked about the fact that when she has been out as a ranger with her male counterpart, she can see immediately the difference in the way that she's treated and her male counterpart is treated. So we know that it's harder.
Is it a good thing that we're highlighting it? That is my biggest question and my biggest dilemma. If we should keep highlighting the issue, or if we should just, we know it.
Under the carpet? But
not under the carpet and not do anything about it. But I think we know, we do know it amongst us.
I think I'm not sure if
highlighting the issue makes us more of the victimizing.
I think in Cami's instance, and it was just part of the discussion, and I hear what you're saying, but the reality for Cami is, as a foreigner and as a woman, she sees a difference in the way that she's treated to her male counterpart. Does it change her? No.
And
that's the important thing, because
that's the reality.
And with all due respect, Moira just said that when she was lobbying for anti-hunting, your male counterparts did not receive
the same
thing.
No,
yes. and
no, definitely.
I think we need to be.
I have something to add to this as well.
You fire away, girlfriend.
So no, I get treated very differently to my male colleagues. Extremely differently.
I know.
I've had mayors flirting with me. Like I would
you
have
don't think women do it with men?
No,
women do it with male journalists.
I definitely don't do it.
Not you, but
no. But my colleagues never go through this. They don't go through this because I ask them whenever it happens. I'm like, guys, does this happen to you, or is it happening because I'm a woman? Like recently, I had a prominent lawyer. I'm calling him Jafiri on work matters. And he starts off the phone call by saying, "Oh, I'll be." And as soon as I hung up, I went to my male colleagues. I'm like, did this guy ever call you Albi? They're like, no, I don't think. Because he called me Albi 3 times during the duration of that phone call. And even, for example, I would have uploaded a profile picture. I've had 3 mayors message me inappropriately when I would have approached them for a comment for a story that I would be working on. like once I changed my profile picture and one of them, he did the wow react on the photo, which was already a bit, but I'm like, all right, I'll let that slide. And then a few days later, I messaged him for a comment. And after he gave me the comment, he's like, stunning photo, by the way.
Oh, reveal. Who?
Oh, we got a little tiger in the corner over there. But I think ideally we wouldn't be having this conversation. We wouldn't even be discussing whether it's a woman or a gender issue or whether it's just an issue. But unfortunately, it is. And I think this is one of the reasons that we do.
And some of them need to be called out. Some of them need to be called out. Like one day, I think I will do it. I will collect all of them. I'm collecting right now. I have a list.
Oh my
the
God,
list is growing.
Sell tickets.
One day, I
won't be there.
I will write an article. And I'll include the screenshots. I'll do it someday. I'll do it. Because these men need to be called out. No, you shouldn't speak to me inappropriately in the work setting just because I'm a woman. And it degrades you. I really feel degraded. Like, I'm a journalist. At the core of it, I'm a journalist.
Yes.
Push it aside. Push the fact that I'm under 25 aside and that I'm a female. And respect me. Respect my role.
But don't you think this goes back decades, if not millennia?
Definitely.
I mean, this is not a new issue. This is an issue that I'm sure that we have all faced as well.
Definitely.
Where we've been treated differently and probably not intentionally derogatory.
But it's
just
normalized.
out of ignorance.
Do you think males are aware that? Because I think I don't know if that is my biggest question. Sorry, I'm asking a question rather than answering through these questions. But I don't think they do it intentionally. I think it's because it's out of a social, but it's a bit of like they saw their peers do it, so then I'm going to be doing the same. So it's like a little bit of a like social construct, which is for them something normal.
But at the same time, not all men do it.
Quasi.
Like I communicate with a lot of men. And some of them would never dream of behaving like this. Would never.
Exactly. No, I know what you mean. True.
We all know what you mean.
May I add something to the same argument? Because when a law with regards to animals goes through, or a consultation, or there's some movement of some sort, I don't know if you ever read the comments. Like, I get all the blame. It's like, I'm so powerful.
The scapegoat.
Yeah.
Even if there's...
And in Maltese, they write, Mush torta Moira Delia, Mush Moira Delia. Like, it's obviously Moira Delia's work. Like, in a positive way, I see it in a positive way. Like, oh, I'm that powerful. Because I get to know that, yes, thanks to my statuses, Facebook, Instagram, I'm very straight to the point. Whether it's good or bad, I speak the truth, as long as I'm honest,
Yes.
And sometimes the truth hurts and something happens. So if that thing happens within the law and there's some, hopefully some movement with animal welfare, I get the blame for doing it.
I'm going to pull you up more on something that you just said. It sat with me and I was like, holy cow. You just said, I'm that powerful. Now, would we not agree around the table that if a guy was doing your job and speaking out as much as you are speaking out, and speaking out as much as you are speaking out, and as prevalent and as open as you are, if a guy was doing it, probably wouldn't be seen as powerful as you ladies are, because you stand out and you are being seen to do it. And if somebody sees that this law or whatever, because of what you've been doing, is taking effect, you get credited with it. That's power. That's incredible power. And I think this is where we need to turn this around to be positive, because that recognition may be due to the fact that you're an outspoken woman. So it comes back to the question that I was about to ask, which is what has happened, which you were saying, oh, you should have given me the questions, but what has happened during your journey that you are really proud of, that was a real positive experience? Could have been just that one person.
Yes, in fact, when I do receive messages where they sort of tell me thank you because just by seeing your story, it helped me come out to my parents, it helped me come out to myself. Sometimes the acceptance to to themselves. So those are definitely positive experiences, and I say, I'm happy that I'm sharing my story, my experience with people on social media, people who are listening to me on the radio.
With me, since I'm older, I try and help younger women and push forward their ideas and push forward their image. I want more activists. There are so many more, as I mentioned, and they're hands-on. I mean, there's an emergency, an animal, an injured animal. There you are, they go, trap the animal and treat it. But yes, I help other women. At the moment, I'm on that mission.
Yes.
I want younger women to gain that recognition, gain that popularity. Yes, because we need to keep on working. It's all for the goodness of animals,
Yes.
for our country, So
tied to that, can you see that there's one single event that's happened? I'm going to ask you to be specific, and you're not off the hook yet. Whereby that you've done something and you had a positive result, and you were just like, I'm going to let these ladies think because you've had more time. Oh, wow. Excellent. You got loads of time to think then. You got loads and loads of time to think. Go, Sasha.
So I have one related to the environment, one related to animals, and one related to me personally.
Okay.
So, environment. Remind me if I forget.
You're talking to a woman in the menopause. That's never going to happen.
So I remember, and this was at the start of my journalistic career, there was this one permit in Arp, Gozo. So Arp is a very untouched town, and we should keep it that way. Gozo, really, we should keep it that way. And this permit was basically to create a new road, which would then lead to residential dwellings on the side of the road.
Yeah.
It was filed by a partner of Joseph Portelli. And I remember I had written 11 articles fighting against this permit. I had gone up to WARP myself. I had met with the residents. I had done everything. I had spoken to the ministry. I had spoken to the planning authority. I had spoken to the mayor of the town. And when that permit was rejected, that was one of the most beautiful wins I ever had. And these are the moments that give me hope, because it's a tough industry. Being an activist is tough. So you need these wins to continue on. So that's one. The second one, animals. I remember once I had written an article. Well, first, I was approached by one of the leading cat fosterers on the island. So she deals with, at the time, I think she had around 60 cats to take care of. And they were really, really running out of funds. And she had posted this video where she was literally in tears, crying, showing everyone all of the cages of all of the strays that she had to care for. And she had spoken to me about it, and I'm like, all right, let's do an article. And we had done an article, and until around 3 days later, she had received over 4,000 euros in donations.
Nice.
Wow.
And it was because of my article.
Well done.
Wow.
So
Lovely.
I get goosebumps talking about it again. And
Nice.
it's just, wow, I'm doing something. I'm doing something.
3, because I think
Number
we're all going to
3.
be chinning you in a second.
Number 3 came after my appearance on the health podcast, when I was approached by Abigail Vick, who is an influencer, and now her story is public. That's why I'm naming her and everything, because she has publicly spoken about it. And she approached me with this massive paragraph. She's like, thank you so much for speaking about your experience. She was like, I have my operation in a week's time. I was just diagnosed with a 22 centimeter ovarian cyst, which also went undiagnosed for a very long time. And she was like, thank you. She was like, you are the first person that made me feel like I'm not alone, and that I actually knew about someone that went through something similar to mine. And that moment, I remember I was crying. I was just telling her I'm crying right now, because these 3 accounts that I mentioned, this is why it's important to speak out. Because whether you're going to help a few residents in the rural town of Arp, or whether you're going to help a cat foster who is helping so many cats like every single day, or whether you are helping a woman who is about to go through a very traumatizing and difficult experience, this is why.
I'm going to chin
Great.
that.
Wow.
Chin,
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 chin.
chin,
Chin to
chin.
that.
Cheers.
Well done.
Cheers.
We have to reach across the table. We'll do that in a minute because you guys are not off the hook. So I'm going to ask you, Maura. I'm going to come to you. You look like you're slightly teary.
No,
but...
I was about to.
Oh, sorry,
have
I
a
kept
sip,
you away
don't
from
worry.
the wine. A single moment or moments like Sasha, where you know that you're doing a good work and something positive happens, so you know it was worth it.
Around 3 years ago, and I'll try and keep this as short as possible, around just before COVID. No, when COVID hit, we formed an NGO, Real Animal Rights Foundation. I'm the president of the NGO, and we helped so many animals, like 17,000 euros during the first phase. We helped all the feeders with food. That was 3 years ago,
Amazing.
right? From then on, we formed this NGO. Today, we have what's called an ambulance, a brand new van, and we are recognized from companies, and companies are donating, and hopefully they keep on donating because we depend on donations, and we go out there, we trap, we neuter, we rehome or release. And apart from that, we have a house that's called a safe house in our name, Real Animal Rights Foundation, where at the moment we have like around 70 cats, mother cats and kittens.
Wow.
We trap, we don't leave any, we try our best not to leave any mother cats out in the streets. And like this, we neuter the mother cats, we rehome the kittens. It's a whole project that we started 3 years ago, and
Nice.
we have a group of 10 volunteers because I do not run the safe house itself, and I try and use my face to get sponsors, to get money
go.
in.
Well
That's
done.
my
There you
role.
go.
So yes, so there.
So amazing.
Again,
Cheers.
yes,
Thank you.
cheers.
Thank you.
Chin.
And
It
we will
keeps on
clink
going.
in a minute.
Thank
We're
you.
gonna
Cheers.
because I'm going to come back and ask you, Tina, a single moment that you said to yourself, "It's all worth it."
As I mentioned before, but if you want me to maybe dig a bit deeper, where I was literally walking in Slimo, just going into a shop, and I saw this girl looking at me and very hesitant. She wasn't sure if I knew something was up, but thank God she did. She came up to me in tears, really upset, and just couldn't speak, shaking. And I was trying to understand. So she was telling me, listen, thank you, sort of your story really, I haven't come out to my parents yet, not even to my friends. You could see she was really afraid. And I was there, so I could really relate. You know, I went through that phase in my life. But that moment, sort of, yeah, I tried calming her down as much as I could. Got her number. We instantly connected on social media. A week later, we met up for a coffee, sat down, talked about it, and sort of she's come out to her parents today. And it's definitely a success story for me. So
Yeah.
Wow.
it's one of the stories I'll
Please.
chin chin,
Please.
chin chin.
Lovely. Prosetti.
I'm gonna.
Prosit to you. Prosit to
Well, I'm in tears. So
Again?
I know
Whenever I'm here, you seem to cry.
it's you. But I mean,
And
you're
it's
right.
not menopause this time.
No, it's not menopause. But I mean, you last time we spoke, you did actually. You moved me. I was goosebumpy. I was in tears. I was very, very affected by your passion. And I'm gonna ask you guys. I know we've been talking for an hour. I'm gonna wrap, but I'm gonna ask you guys 2 questions to wrap. I'm gonna ask you what you would like your lasting legacy to be, and what could you say in one sentence to motivate other women to stand up and speak out? We're going to go with Sasha first because she's like,
Yes.
yeah, we're all going, yeah, go Sasha.
What was the first one?
Oh, my word. What would you like your lasting legacy to be?
So, purely just to know that I have made a difference, The only reason why I'm still in Malta is because I love this island so much. Because if I didn't love this island so much, I would have left a long time ago, because the issues and sometimes they're very disheartening. And being a voice sometimes can be very disheartening as well, and I'm sure you guys can understand this,
Yes.
sometimes it gets very draining, because I think we deal more with losses than we do with wins. So then the wins really give us that boost to continue bringing about this change that is really needed. Knowing that I would have helped others in any way, form, whatsoever. And the second part?
What would you say to motivate other women to speak up, speak out, and make change?
So, purely just to use your voice, because we all have a voice. Like I said at the start of the podcast, now I do have a platform, the fact that I'm a journalist with Lovin Malta. I have this amazing platform which I can use to raise awareness on matters. But before I became a journalist, I created my own voice, and if really not really created, but tapped into it, because our voice is always there. So don't be scared. I know sometimes you can feel a bit pressured, what are people gonna think and everything. But if you truly believe in something, just go for it. You will find much more support than you actually think you would,
See, then you drop that bomb right at the end. You'll find much more support. As if it's a throwaway comment. That, I think, is one of the most important things.
Might I add, this is the second time that I'm around this table. And it's such an inspirational energy to be around so many strong women, and you.
Well, I just get to host you guys.
No.
You created this. Thank you, Trudy.
Thank you.
Moira.
Yes.
Your lasting legacy. Did you just mention it when you talked about the
I just hope that people, women mostly, listen to themselves and be fearless or less fearful to speak out. But if you think your gut feeling is telling you it's right, what I'm saying is right, and I can do this for the goodness of my country, for the good of anyone you believe in, if we all believe in that particular subject matter, the issue that matters most to us, and speak about it after listening to ourselves, I think there's no wrong way in doing this.
Agreed.
Other than that, if I'm ever silent on social media, it means I'm pushing other people, other familiar faces. We need more animal activists, environmentalists, and they need our help. It doesn't mean that I'm going to stop working, because I'm going to be hosting and producing my program as long as I can. But I'm going to be introducing new faces in my program. We need people, these familiar, you're amazing, Sasha, and I want people like you to be on TV, on social media, on radio, people, you're full of knowledge. You're so inspirational. It's amazing.
From you.
Honestly,
What a love
we
around
need
this
A
table.
lot.
Yes, let's keep this
Thank
going.
you. You get the last
Is there
words.
more that
Sorry,
No, in the sense you've said it all, guys. Literally, I mean, any woman that's listening to us out there, I think the summary is: don't be afraid. Your story matters. Your opinion counts. Your experience. Tell us, share with us, because by sharing your story, it will help. As we said before, even if it just helps one person, then making a difference is just amazing.
Ladies, I'm going to cheers again.
Cheers!
Cheers, team.
Cheers!
Love you.
Love you all.
Thank you so
true.
much.
Well done, guys.
Thank you, Trudy.
And keep doing what you're doing.
seguendo la strada sommersa di fronte all'isola di Mozia, superando le storiche saline all'interno della riserva orientata dello Stagnone di Marsala, dove il vento anima e trasporta, ti troverai tra distese di vigneti e misteriose tracce di antiche civiltà. Luoghi in cui la luce domina il tempo, caricando di calore e di colore la natura e gli uomini. Gli uomini, i nostri uomini. Ci siamo chiesti cosa rendesse davvero speciale tutto questo. In una parola, il carattere. Il carattere di una terra amata e combattuta. Il carattere di chi lavora in vigna e in cantina. Il carattere della famiglia. Il carattere di un frutto. E tutto questo è frutto del nostro carattere.